Good day everyone. Today we are about to report the module 6, which is the Piaget stages of cognitive development. And today we are expected to learn on ano ba talaga yung pangalan from the moment the child is birth, from the moment he grow, from the moment he know how to walk, he know how to speak, he know how to recognize things. So afterwards we are expected to learn about it.
Good day everyone, my name is Jimly Maravilla. Today I will be discussing the first stage of Piaget's cognitive development. Piaget's divided child development into four stages. The first stage is sensory motor stage. Ang sensory motor stage ay nagsa-start siya sa birth hanggang sa 2 taong gulang. In this stage, ang bata ay unang makakaranas ng mga reflexive na kilos katulad ng paghawak, pagsuso at pag-abot. And gradually, they are more organized with their movement and activity. The term sensory motor focuses on the prominence of the senses and muscle movement through which the infant comes to learn about himself and the world. Object permanence. This is ability of the child to know that an object still exists even when out of sight. Example is when an adult covers their face and then reveals it. Babies often express joy, showing they understand the person has not disappeared. Another example is if the baby drops a toy and looks for it, they demonstrate awareness that the toy still exists out of sight.
Hello everyone, it's me again, Ciliado, and since Miss Maravilla already discussed on what is the stage 1, so let's proceed to the stage 2, which is the pre-operational stages. The pre-operational stages is actually covers from about 2 to 7 years old, and the child can now make mental representation and is able to pretend. The child is now ever closer to the use of symbol. After these slides, I am going to explain on what are the changes that the child acts during his stage 2, which is the pre-operational stages. So the first one is symbolic function. This is the ability to represent object and events. Like a children is now kabalo na sila or alam na nila kung how to represent an object. So that is a dog, that is a bowl, or that is a dog. So that is a symbolic function. So the second one is the egocentrism. So this is the tendency of a child to only see his point of view and to assume that everyone has also the same of his point of view. So, like for example, a 3-year-old girl who cannot understand why his cousin call her daddy uncle and not daddy. So, ano daw ang iyahang igagaw is tawag niya ang iyahang daddy is uncle and not daddy. So, that is egocentrism. Ang iyang ginakuan is ang point of view niya, wala niya ginabase ang point of view sa uban. On how people see those things or call those things. Okay, the third one is centration. This refers on the tendency of a child to only focus on one aspect of a thing or event and exclude the other aspects. So the meaning of this is like for example, I serve two glasses and has the same size. So when I put water on it, tapos I transfer the other one on the um different bowl that is huge and like mubo, and then ang pagtano sa ang child ana is mas gamay ang kato sa koan and mas dako ang iyang sa katong sa pikas nga bottle because according to this centration daw is a child is only focused on one aspect, wala na siya nagbi sa other aspect from the moment the water is transferred from the other bottle. So hope you understand. So the fourth one is reversibility. Pre-operational children still have the inability to reverse their thinking. Like for example, when you teach when you teach a child plus or addition, 2 plus 3 is equal to 5, right? But if you change the sign into minus, 3 minus 2 is hindi na masasagot yan. It is because irreversibility pa yung thinking ng isang bata. So that's all for the irreversibility. So the fifth one is animism. This is the tendency of a children to attribute human-like traits or characteristic to inanimate. Like for example, kinakausap mo yung bata that is already on stage 2, the pre-precious stages. Gabi na tapos tinatanong mo yung bata, nasan si Sun? So, ang isasagot ng bata is Sun is sleeping. It is because there's no sun. There's no sun when there's no sun in night. So, yun yung isasagot ng ang bata. Like, hindi pa nila alam kung ano talaga yung nangyayari sa sun during night. So, that is animism. So the last one is transductive reasoning. So this refers to the pre-operational child type of reasoning that is neither inductive or deductive. One of the example to this is so before we proceed to the next topic, hoping that you understand what is the stage one and stage two. So if there's none, let's proceed to the concrete operational stage. So in this stage, it covers about 8 to 11 years old. And this stage is characterized by the ability of a child to think logically but only in terms of concrete object like nakita lamang sa isang bata. So the first one is decensoring. This refers to the ability of a child to perceive the different features, objects, and situations. So in this stage, are expected, or children are expected to recognize a different kind of object, like for example, some shapes like, oh, that's a triangle, that's a circle, that's a square. With regards to the colors, they can easily recognize it, like for example, oh, that's color white, oh, that's color black, that's color red. When in terms to different kind of things or object or animals that they see they see in front or in everything and everywhere, like, oh, that's a dog, oh, that's a cat, so they can recognize in a different they recognize different kind of concrete object like nakikita lamang sa bata. So the rest of the rest of the topic, which the reversibility, conservation, and seriation, will be discussed by Miss Moravilla. Hope you understand. Thank you so much.
Let's proceed to reversibility. Reversibility in children, particularly in Piaget's cognitive development theory, is the ability to understand that actions can be reversed. For instance, a child might realize that if they flatten a ball of clay, it can be reshaped back into a ball. This concept is typically develops in the concrete operational stage, around ages 8 to 11, and is crucial for logical thinking and problem solving. And conservation. They grasp that quantity does not change even when its shape does. For example, if you pour water from a tall glass into a wider one, they can understand that the amount of water remains the same. The last one is seriation. In child development is the ability to arrange objects or ideas in a logical order based on characteristics such as size, shape, or color. An example is when a child sorts a set of blocks from a smallest to largest. This typically emerges during the concrete operational stage around 8 to 11 and is crucial for later mathematical understanding.
Good day everyone. My report is about stage 4, formal operational stage. Stage 4, formal operational stage. In the final stage of formal operations covering ages between 12 and 15 years old, thinking becomes more logical. This stage is when kids start thinking like adults. For example, analyzing a situation or problem using reason and coming up with potential solutions. So that's this example of formal operational stage. So let's proceed. Next is hypothetical reasoning. This is the ability to come up with different hypotheses about a problem and to gather and weigh data in order to make a final decisions or judgment. This hypothetical reasoning, they can imagine different possibilities and figure out what will happen if something changes. Example, ano siya is, what if, um, what if the batas tas sa analogical examples is magtuon o bike or anything na tun-an mo like learning language. Next is analogical reasoning. This is the ability to perceive the relationship in one instance and then use that relationship to narrow down possible answers in another similar situation or a problem. This analogical reasoning, we can notice how things are similar and use that solve a problem. Next is deductive reasoning. This is the ability to think logically by applying a general rule to a particular instance. They can apply rules to a specific situation and come up with the right answer. It's like they have a super brain that can think through things in a more complex. For example, making your own rules. Example, I want to go to beach. It means a person wants to go to the beach. Okay, so that's all my report.